This is Graveyard Ghosts, and this is the Evans Chapel Graveyard. In front of me is the Evans tomb. That is where Father Evans is buried. He was the preacher for the chapel, and this particular cemetery was named after him. The church no longer exists, but the cemetery is still here. It's one of those that's hidden, but it's really not. It is behind the visitor center here in the Great Smoky Mountains. Most of the tombs that are here are just stone markers. They don't have any names on them, just a stone that is there for the remembrance of the person that is deceased and buried there. So as you can see, there's many of them here. Looks like at least a few hundred plus. And this is an example of just how they place a stone right there for the body. Some of them may have had markings on them at one point, and they've just worn off. Here's a little one, for example. You can barely make out, mainly just initials. Back here behind me, you can see more. One particular note of interest with the older graveyards like this, back in the day, they did pull up all of the grass. So you'll notice it's mostly moss or dirt. That way the caretaking of the graveyard was easier, and they didn't have the weeds and back then the mowing and such to do. So up here's a perfect example of where you have mostly moss, and then you just have the stone markers there along with it. And we're at the back of the graveyard already. Make a short little round here to show you again. Here's a larger one. It's one of the Whaleys. That is a name of interest within this area. It's one of the older names, one of the families that was one of the first settlers in the Gatlinburg area. And you can hear the roaring creek on the side of us. And again, I'll give you an overview of this little graveyard, and it's quite unique. Thanks for joining. Be sure to subscribe.